Lately we've been repeating the prayer of Yogananda. Lord, fill this world with peace and harmony. Fill me with peace and harmony. But that is only the first step. Once we feel peace and harmony within ourselves, how do we share that? How do we become instruments for peace and harmony in the world, for God's presence in the world? And one way certainly is repeating this prayer, and repeating it with concentration. It becomes an affirmation. When we repeat an affirmation with our full focus, with energy, it becomes already truth within us. And we can also pray to be an instrument, a channel of God's light and harmony. As the so-called prayer of St. Francis, inspired by the writings of William of Conqueror, goes, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, let me sow pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, let me sow joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying to self that we are born to eternal life. And we are already those instruments of light in the world. We're children of the light. We simply need to reclaim that divine destiny. Every positive thought, every act of kindness, whenever we think of someone else before ourselves, that's enough to raise the energy, to raise the kundalini, to make us that instrument of God's light. And the more we do, the better the instrument we become. The healing prayers that we put in the box here, the healing prayer requests, are prayed for by a group of devotees, our healing prayer group. And these may not be the prayers of a saint. They're the prayers of ordinary people, of devotees who've been able to focus, to put themselves aside for a few minutes, and to give energy to this soul. And we've just received amazing stories worldwide of instantaneous healings that have taken place through this very simple process by ordinary people like you and me. And it just takes that willingness to be a channel, and to let that light of God flow through us. Some students here rush to get Kriya Yoga initiation, thinking that then I'll have what I want, and then I can go home and practice the technique and attain moksha. And I'll never have to come back to Ananda Sangha again. And some people never do come back to Ananda Sangha again. And yet that Diksha is just the first step. It's a very important step, but only one of them. Just like an additional tool in our tool belt, will not get the job done. Technique alone will not give us God. What's more difficult and challenging is to practice these teachings, put them into practice every hour of every day. When to give, to pardon, to love, to understand, in those moments when that is what's needed most. This week, earlier, Dr. Morella gave a class, and the focus was how to feel God's will. How do we distinguish between our will and God's will? And what's the difference? What does it feel like? And how much am I an instrument of light and harmony? And she gave us also a practice to do, which was on our phones every hour to have a reminder that comes up. And when that reminder comes up, to ask ourselves the question, where is my energy right now? And very quickly what follows that, at least in my mind, is what can I do? What should I do right now? And perhaps that signal comes up when we're eating dinner. And we realize, oh, I'm eating, I'm continuing to eat out of habit. I'm really full. I can leave the table now. But I wasn't aware of it until I put my mind to it. I've practiced this a little in the last few days, and one time the signal came up and my mind was wandering, and it just took a little bit of focus to get back where I wanted it to be. Another time I was preparing the satsang, and my thoughts were just where I wanted them to be. But I realized that I could focus on feeling God's presence in that moment even deeper. We're all children of the light already. As it says in the Gita, seekers of union with the Lord find Him dwelling in their own hearts. And Yoganandaji said, if you want to know God, live in the thought that you have Him already. Thank you. Sunita.
Good morning, Jai Guru to all. I think we all have, through our studies in social sciences in school and by all the stories that we hear and movies we see, we've always heard about the sad state or the suffering of the widows of Vrindavan. By blessing of Guruji, I think some of us had the opportunity to go yesterday, visit Vrindavan. It was not a pilgrimage that we always take with Ananda. Go, sit, meditate, be connecting to God. This was a very different, unusual pilgrimage. It's a great learning for all of us, and I think I should consider myself privileged to be able to share these thoughts and experiences. There are a number of heartrending stories when we hear about how they all arrived here. There are so many. Just to give you a few examples, one of them got married, young girl of 9 or 10. The next day, her husband passed away, and well, she is dumped. As we know, we are all in our society, very often they're considered ill omens. So this lady, through somebody else, a guru, and comes to Vrindavan. And a lot of ashrams and gurus have their connection in Vrindavan. So one lady is there, and from that same village, and another lady comes to know. So she comes there, being in the same predicament. There were some people who have been just dumped by the children, not being taken care of, so they have come there.
There was one lady, the husband is in some other ashram, this lady is in the other place, and nobody to take care of them. They cannot even stay in the same place. So the stories go on and on and on. But what I would like to share here is, maybe some of you are already aware that the Yogananda Charitable Trust has been established, and they are all trying their best to serve these women. Of course, whatever the material needs are, that is not what I want to share here. I'd like to share here the aspect we generally tend to neglect. We often think that we need, okay, we'll give this, but what they really need is the love, unconditional love from not just their children. They're looking at unconditional love from humanity as such. They're wonderful, wonderful souls, and they had been told that we'll be coming. And for the last 3 days, apparently, we heard that they've been so excited, preparing and just waiting to see, and they were full of smiles. We are so often, complaining, oh, this is not there, that is not there, and we are grumbling about our lives. But you should have seen the joy they had. It was beyond words, and all they want is, how can we serve them? By divine friendship, by giving them that love, by sharing with them maybe stories. They are not looking for stories I can say, Krishna did this or that. Their level is much more super conscious than what we are, and they really need to be probably what we learn from masters teachings, maybe sharing that with them. It was wonderful to see some of them. One lady, actually, her daughter had not seen her for 20 years, and she had just come a few weeks back for 3-4 days, and the daughter has children and grandchildren. But this lady, we asked her, one of our group members asked her, don't you want to go and spend time with your grandchildren? She says, no, I'm happy where I am. I'm already in Krishna's service. What he says, this lifetime, whatever I have to do, I don't know if I have another lifetime or not, whatever Krishna says. That is the level of surrender they have, and all that we need to do is share our love, our love, the divine love that flows through us. And I think, the thought, in the night, I couldn't sleep for many hours, I think almost till past 1 o'clock. And I was just kind of thinking, what is it that we all can do? Maybe make groups, visit them, share our love, sit with them, talk to them, just be a channel of love and spend time with them. And I think that would be a wonderful way we can serve these women. They are such beautiful souls, and you see the blessings that we received yesterday in a few hours, probably we haven't received in a lifetime. From the human beings, besides I'm talking about God's blessings. But they were so, they're just holding your hands, they're giving you hugs. I don't know how many hugs we got. And I can see Sangeeta is smiling here. The experience, she was with us. And it was really so beautiful. It was very moving to see that all they need is love. And their own family is not loving them. There have been women who are brought on the pretext of a pilgrimage by the family and just left, and the family has kind of literally cheated and gone off. So this is all the kind that they are there, and I don't know, I really think that we should come forward, and maybe we should have some kind of a sequence of, have a regular visits, and we should do. And really, I think I would really urge that we all, as a group, should really move forward and share this divine friendship, divine joy and love, share their bhajans, we share our bhajans, and make that group, the circle bigger and bigger and bigger, and envelop all in this unconditional love. I don't know whether I've made my thoughts clear. I've expressed properly, but in case I haven't, I'm sorry, but that is it. Thank you so much.
Somebody once asked Swamiji, how is it that all the members of Ananda in your communities are so harmonious? And he said, well, in order to be this harmonious, we would have had to all live in the astral world previously together. And it was a beautiful, beautiful answer, and one that makes so much sense, because if we're all disciples of the same Guru, and our Guru is for eternity, then it seems that we would have traveled through many lives together, and we also would have been, in the same vibration with our Guru, with Swamiji, in the astral world also, in between lives. And then he also said, well, what makes everybody, somebody who had visited Ananda village, what makes everybody so kind and so nice? Why are they such good people all here in one place? And Swamiji said, if you just found one kind of good person here and one kind of good person there, you would say it's just how they are. But to find so many like that all in one place, it must be what they're doing that's making them so nice and so kind and so loving. And what are they doing? What are we doing? We're meditating, we're learning to get calm, uplift our consciousness, uplift our energy, and once it's uplifted in meditation, we take that higher consciousness and we share it with others. And in that sharing and giving of that energy and that consciousness and that love, we ourselves receive more energy, more love, more kindness from God and for others and from others. Yesterday in Vrindavan, as Sumitra was just sharing, we, a joyful group, went on the bus together, chanting, stayed in joy, visited a couple temples in the morning, and did have this upward lifting consciousness from praying to God in these beautiful ancient temples. But then really the most important part of the day was how we could share that inspiration, our joy of higher vibration in basking in our own Guru's love and sharing it with these great, great souls. And that is how we transform ourselves. That's also how we overcome the ego, by serving in harmony together, by consciously uplifting our consciousness and consciously giving it to others. Right after this satsang, we'll be having an organizing meeting for our first spiritual fair, which will be here at Guru Prem on the 3rd of April. And I was thinking before the meeting and during this whole month plus that we have to get ready for the fair, I was thinking of the Seva days that we also have at Ananda village. And the Seva days are particularly to help us learn to become instruments of our Guru's light, love, kindness, harmony to each other while we serve. Every hour there's a gong that's rung, and we think to ourselves, what's my thought right now? Where is my consciousness? Am I thinking of God? Am I being an instrument of God right now? Or am I cribbing about the way somebody else is handling the service over here? Where is my consciousness? And then, am I doing the seva because I want everything to be perfect at the end, that I'm so concerned about the result and I want everybody to know that I painted the inside of the market? Or is it just the process of feeling God's love and knowing that I'm sharing my energy with others? Is it, Nishkan Karma? Am I doing it with Nishkan Karma? What am I thinking of my Guru Bhais as I'm painting right next to them? Am I judging them, or am I seeing the highest in them, the way Swami always sees the highest in us? How are we looking at others? So as we think of this spiritual fair, this is a perfect opportunity for us to practice. Swamiji said that that all of us sort of moving towards God together, it's sort of like our Guru is pushing a washing machine forward down the road, and all of us are in the washing machine, and we're all getting stirred together, and we're all getting clean just by rubbing up against each other and scraping each other, and this is the way that we're becoming clean, because we're having an opportunity to practice our transcending the ego. If we can practice together, when we get into a little argument, I want God, you want God, we both want to transcend our ego. Let's come together in understanding what's the solution of how we can move forward together in harmony. And really, Ananda devotees are some of the most harmonious in the world, and this is a perfect, perfect place to practice. Keshava was talking about the peace and harmony prayer. We have, many of you probably may know Naya Swami Tushti. She spent some time in Delhi earlier. She also was in Gurgaon. She also was in yoga training in Gurgaon. She has cancer, and she's coming to the point in her process that she will probably be leaving her body within, who knows, maybe the next week or two, something like that. So I have been, all of us have, but I'm talking about me, I have been trying so hard to be as perfect of a channel of light and freedom and joy as I can to Tushti. And you know, when we ourselves try so hard to be those instruments, we have to connect with light. We have to feel light within us before we can really send that light out. We have to feel that freedom within us before we can send that freedom out. So it gives us so much more incentive to meditate more deeply, to feel that connection so that we can become ever more perfect channels of that light in this world. And in the last week or two, when I've been trying so much harder to be a more perfect channel, I have been feeling so much closer to God, and I can feel my own spiritual growth in that self-effort. And we can wait for not only such moments as these, but we can always think it's up to us. How much effort am I going to put out to feel that communion and share it with others? Because all of us need to be those instruments of harmony and light, certainly with each other as we prepare for this fair, as we prepare to share our energy and our love and our joy and our light and whatever wisdom we've been taught with others when they come. But mostly that we can be God's channel and be aware of being God's channel. Am I feeling love for others in this moment? Am I feeling calm? Am I feeling peace within? Am I feeling joy? And those are all the divine qualities that we've been taught. And maybe I don't feel calmness, and maybe I don't feel joy right now. But can I feel energy? Can I feel energy flowing through me? Can I hear Om? What of the divine qualities can I connect to right now and share with others? We all need to be expressing these qualities of the divine. And we may not be perfect, and we may not be able to always share all of them. But what can I strive for? What's within my reach? And lift yourself up. Use your own effort to push yourself up to being that channel. And I know that as we all practice and want to transform ourselves, we want to achieve self-realization. As we truly aspire within our hearts, because that is our heart's yearning, is that oneness with God. As we seek that way, that channel, that I can be an instrument for God's love, for His kindness, to all my Guru Bhais, to my family, to my work friends, to everybody. We ourselves are being transformed, our ego is being dissolved, and we're achieving the joy and the peace that we have come seeking.